Hello everyone and welcome back to Classic Automotive Services. This week we've got more progress on the prototype TR8. We've been working on that this week, and as you can see we've got the axle now all cleaned, painted and detailed. The shell is back as well, which we'll look at in a minute. We'll have a look around that because that is actually really good. So with the axle, in last week's video you saw it as a rusty manky mess. So as I said last week, we weren't going to send it to a powder coating as I'm not a fan of it. With an axle, as you get dust and debris inside it, it's nearly impossible to get rid of it all and clean it all out. So while it's sealed up like this, other than the back plates, just all I've done was got a selection of wire wheels. The main one I used was it's called a zip wheel on a 4.5 inch angle grinder. That gets the bulk of it off back to nice clean metal, and then just a selection of wire wheels you put in a drill. You get pointed ones, different size cup ones, so you can get into all the little nooks and crannies and get it all back to clean bare metal. Once it was then back to bare metal, it was done with a zinc rust inhibiting primer. Then it had a coat of epoxy primer. That was then left to go off overnight, and once that had gone off, it was then done with the satin black and a couple of coats of 2K lacquer. So it's got plenty of paint on it and it's got plenty of protection on it. It should stay looking like this forever. It's then had new gaskets and oil seals. The rear cover was taken off and the internals of the diff were inspected. They're absolutely perfect, as I thought just by the feel of it. Oil was all drained out of it, as on these the only way you can get the oil out of them is to remove this rear cover. So the oil was drained out, and then it had a new gasket put on the rear cover. It's had nice new stainless steel bolts fitted with nice new stainless steel washers. The same on the front. The pinion flange was removed. The pinion seal housing was then removed, seal changed, then it had new gasket and was all reassembled as it should be. Now the owner, some of you may have already seen the picture of the axle, which we will put in the end of the video as well. But there were some questions on Facebook when the owner put the picture on there. When you remove the pinion flange, does it alter the preload? Does the collateral space have to be replaced? And the answer on that is, on this axle, no it doesn't. On this axle you can remove the pinion flange and remove the seal housing without altering any of the preload, as if you take one off and take it apart, once you get the seal housing off, behind there you will see a large nut. It's roughly probably 1.5 inches in diameter, something like that. I haven't measured it and I haven't altered it, so I don't know what size it is, but it's roughly 1.5 inches in diameter, and that is where your preload and everything's set. So as long as you don't disturb that, you'll be absolutely fine. So again, yeah, that was all cleaned up, reassembled with new oil seals and gaskets, and the axle is now ready to have everything else put back on it. When the powder coating comes back, I'll put the back plates back on, build up all the brakes, etc. So it's all ready to go back into the car. So we've also done the power steering rack. So we've got the power steering rack and we've fully reconditioned it. It's been completely stripped down to its individual components. Everything was cleaned and checked, made sure there's no wear on the pinion and the actual rack bar itself, and that was all good. The track rods, there was no wear on them either, they were all good, so they were just lubricated and refitted. It's had all new seals put inside it. You can get a complete seal kit for the TR8 rack. Rimmers do the seal kit for it, so it's had all new seals put in it, and it's all been cleaned, painted and detailed as it should be, with nice new gaiters and that on it. Again, new nuts and everything that was metal finish on it, i.e. the splines on the pinion, the adjuster for the backlash on the pinion, the ends of the pipes, the track rod ends, they're plain metal finish. None of this is actually plated, so that'll rust very quickly. So what we've done, we've cleaned it all up, and then they've been given a coat of satin lacquer, so they look the correct finish and they will stay like that, including the track rod ends. They have had a coat of satin lacquer as well. The last bit I've got to put on it is the locking nuts, which are down at the platers. They are plated, and I'm picking it up on Monday, so I can fit them Monday, and that's again ready to go back into the car. So it's all fully refurbished. If I can hold it up, it's quite a weighty thing. So it's all looking absolutely clean and gleaming. We'll put the picture of it in the video at the end of the video with it all stripped down. So if you want to have a closer look at it, it all looks exactly as it should be. So it's all set up, new gaskets, seals, everything fully refurbished. We even managed to save the original sticker off of it, which you very rarely see. First time I've ever seen one. So we've got the original sticker, which was underneath all the oil and grease. It basically says failing to flush a power steering system will void warranty. So we're going to get some new ones of these made. So we've got a stock of them, as the owner wants to keep some in stock as well. The next thing I've got to do will be the power steering pump. This horrible looking unit here. So that's going to be fully stripped and resealed as well. And surprisingly, no one lists a seal kit for the TR8 power steering pump. Everyone are called, all the Triumph suppliers, nope, don't list one. But this pump is the same pump they fit for the Triumph Stag. So if you need a seal kit, just order a Triumph Stag one, as it will fit. The actual pump itself is identical to Stag. The only differences are the mounting bracket and the front pulley. Only differences. The actual pump itself is identical, so you can cross-reference it to Triumph Stag and use a seal kit for Triumph Stag, which is what I've bought. So that will get refurbished at the beginning of the week. That'll be the whole power steering system sorted, ready to go back on the car. As I said, the plating is done now. All the nuts and bolts of the suspension are all done, so I'm picking them up on Monday. No news on the powder coating yet, but it's only been there since Monday, just gone, so I'm not expecting it back for a couple of weeks. We've got the radiators all stripped down, and they're away at the radiator shop as well, being serviced and looked at and upgraded. We have an upgraded cores put in the actual radiator itself. It still look completely factory, but it'll just have an upgraded core to help with the cooling. So we'll move on to the shell and have a look around the shell. Right, we've got the shell back from the dippers, and it is absolutely exceptional. I was expecting it to have probably more than what it has, but it's still by far the best shell that I've ever seen come back from a dipper. So if we look at the floor pans to start with, they're absolutely perfect. Common places for these to rot. These really suffer all around this back edge. That always rots. This is all perfect. The front floor pans always rot. Again, they're perfect. There's not even any pitting or corrosion in them. Obviously, we changed the roof skin before it went, and we've done a couple of repairs on the bulkhead, and we repaired the lower front wing, as they were obvious. But the bits that we have got to do on it is, if we look down at the sill, we've got some corrosion come through on the sills where the trim sits. It's obviously corroded and gone through. Got a bit on the back arch to do here. It's had a poor repair put in here previously, so we're going to change these panels, especially as this side's got a little bit of rot in the inner arch in here. And then if we go around the other side, we've got, again here, it's gone through, a tiny bit on the wheel arch, a few pinholes. This sill was really good, and the only other bit we've got really is a bit on the nose cone. We've got a few pinholes along the front, and then the underneath, it's got holes in it as well. So we'll repair that. Other than that, it's got one or two little pinholes around it here and there, which we can sort out. The only bits that are actually going to get replaced, panel-wise, I'm going to put 2 new lower rear quarters on it, as they're quite bad on the inside. You can see they're quite badly pitted, so we'll change them, and that's all it needs doing. Once that we've done the repairs on it, this can be started to get prepped and painted. We'll have to do a full panel alignment on it first. Excuse me. We'll get the doors rehung, boot, bonnet on it, and get the panels fully aligned first before doing any paint prep on it. But that's by far the best shell I've ever seen come back from the dipper. So we'll crack on with it and get it done. Like I said, next week I'm going to do the power steering pump, and then I'm going to get the gearbox out and do the gearbox. I'm going to check the gearbox over, make sure that's as it should be, change the remote bushes as they're knackered as they always are, clean and paint and detail it all so that's ready to go back in, and hopefully by that point we may be getting the engine back, or somewhere in talks with getting the block and everything back, so we can start doing that. If not, we'll probably start doing the shell. So it's coming along quite well. Hopefully everyone's not getting too fed up with the TR8, as we're trying to press on with it a bit to make some progress on it. I think that's all we've really got this week. So yeah, I can't really think of anything else. So please like and subscribe, and we will see you all next week.